Welcome back to another video. It's time to play that favorite game, Am I the Asshole? That's right, the game where you decide who's the Asshole. We've got a lot of stories lined up, so let's go. Am I the a-hole for refusing my late neighbor's adult kids his house after he left me most of his inheritance? I had a neighbor, Grandpa, who was more like family than just the man next door. After my dad died when I was 4, he became a huge part of our lives, constantly helping my mom and me, financially and emotionally. Grandpa's own kids lived states away and hardly ever visited, maybe 10 times in 24 years, and I became the closest thing he had to a grandson. In the last few months of his life, things got really bad. He lost control of his body and he couldn't speak anymore. My mom moved in to care for him after the doctor recommended house care, and I was there every day after class. His kids didn't even show up until he was in the hospital, 3 weeks before he passed. After he died, they stayed at the house while we waited for the will to be read. The lawyer already sent notice, and I was initially surprised I received one. I was floored when the will revealed Grandpa left me his 3-bedroom apartment in the city, which he had bought some years ago as an investment and was renting it out, and $50K, while his own kids got $75,000 in his personal possessions. The real kicker? Grandpa willed his house to be sold, with the money going to a charity and his grandkids' college fund. They were livid and had a meltdown instantly, but couldn't contest the will because it was watertight. After the reading, his kids approached me privately. They told me do the right thing and give them the apartment. They even offered me $50K under the table to hand it over, saying it was their right for inheritance. I refused the ridiculously low offer. They became vulgar and threatening, and rather personal about my mom's relationship with Grandpa. I was actually willing for all these complications, and I was actually thinking of a favorable negotiation. This was the last straw that broke my back. I told them to go F themselves, I'm keeping it. One of them threatened to go public. For what, I don't know, but she's a reporter, and make it seem like I and Mom manipulated a lonely old man into giving me everything. I'm holding my ground, and now they're accusing me of taking advantage of him. Friends and even some family members are telling me I should have just taken the offer to avoid the drama. I told them to F right off too. I've lawyered up, just in case. So keeping in mind this is a POV from the OP, and taking into account who took care of him, right to the very end, kudos to him and his mom, because that's actually quite hard. I think I can give OP the benefit of the doubt, like the kids not visiting. I can relate to that because I have a similar story to that in my own life. We had a place up north, and our neighbor, who is also an older gentleman, yeah, his kids didn't visit him either. That is sad and heartbreaking. And I think I can relate to him as well about the apartment. He was willing to give him that, just a fair market price, which he deserved, because it is an investment property. Now, personally, I wouldn't want to be a landlord, because where I am is a complete mess, which goes way beyond the scope of this video. But what really got me was the reporter, who was willing to go to public and slander this person. Not only is that 100% illegal, it would end her own career. It wouldn't be too hard to look her up and see the relationship to the story, that she's biased and has an invested interest. That will tell everyone how useless of a reporter she is. And again, we've got the slander on top of that. All in all, nope, you're not the a-hole for this one. Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter I won't budge even if she never speaks to me again? My daughter Casey, 17 female, worked and saved up money for around a year to be able to afford a better car than we could buy her with our family budget. My other daughter, Alina, 16 female, has ADHD, recently got her driver's license and asked to drive Casey's car. Casey allowed it, but Alana ended up having a bad accident around 6 months ago, which basically rendered the car unusable. Their insurance payout wasn't nearly enough to cover the replacement, and with Alana's medical bills from the accident, thankfully there was no permanent damage, just a broken arm and leg. There was no way we could afford to replace Casey's car immediately. Alana was very apologetic to Casey, and so were we, since we couldn't afford to replace the car. Casey didn't accept our apology and has been basically avoiding us, skipping family dinners, and pretty much pretending that her mom, Alana, and I don't exist, and only talking to us if she needs a form signed for school. I begged her to come to a family therapy session, and she eventually relented, but with the condition that Alana wouldn't be present. In the therapy session, she told us that she won't be resuming a relationship with us until we replace her car, which realistically won't be until next year. When the therapist asked how she expects us to do that, Casey said we could just make Alana work to earn the money. The issue is that Alana has severe ADHD and already has trouble managing her schoolwork. I'm worried that making her work to earn the money will harm her grades and have significant ramifications for her future. Casey said, well, you should have thought of that before destroying my car. I don't care, and I'm not going to speak to any of you unless I have my car replaced. I responded that she's free to avoid speaking to me as long as she wanted to, but I'm not going to permanently harm her sister's future to get her a car earlier. My wife agrees with me that we stand firm in our position, but is also generally afraid of Casey never speaking to her again. I understand that her car is ruined, but as a parent I need to look out for all of my children, not just one. Are you though? Are you? Here's the problem I have with this. The way he's treating his daughter Alana with ADHD. If we are to go to what ADHD is in his mind, that is that debilitating. Not only would Alana not be able to drive the car, she wouldn't even be able to get a license. So that's not what ADHD is or how it works. The way the father depicts Alana, why is he worried about his daughter finishing school? From his description, she'll be on disability for the rest of her life. So again, that's not how ADHD works. It wasn't her ADHD that caused the accident. So Casey has every right to be upset about the incident, but it seems the father seems to be enabling Alana, so clearly he's not looking after both daughters. I do realize cars cost a lot of money these days. To get in a new car starts about $55K, but you still can get a good car, put a bit of work into it for $5K. It does take a bit of time and effort, and problem solved. I mean, it's just a car. Why get in between the relationship? Why make excuses? Am I the a-hole for rethinking my whole relationship after my fiance invited his ex to our wedding? So I, 28 female, am engaged to my fiance, 31 male, and we've been together for 4 years. Honestly, he's been great for the most part. He's thoughtful, kind, and we always communicated well until recently. A few weeks ago, he casually mentioned that he wanted to invite his ex-girlfriend, Sarah, to our wedding. They did it for about 5 years and broke up, like 7 years ago. He keeps saying that they're just friends and there's nothing in between them anymore, but from what I know, their breakup was kind of messy, and they didn't talk for a while after it. I don't know Sarah personally, but from what I've heard, she was a pretty big part of his life back then. When he first brought it up, I was shocked. Like, who invites their ex to their wedding? It just feels super inappropriate to me. This is supposed to be our day, and now he wants to bring someone who was literally a big part of his past relationship history? I told him I wasn't comfortable with it at all, and he got defensive. He said it's his wedding too, duh, and that he should be able to invite people who are important to him too. He even said his family would love to see her there since they all still like her. I just feel like, why is he putting her feelings before mine? I feel like the wedding should be about celebrating us, not bringing in people from old relationships. Every time I try to talk to him about how I feel, he says I'm overreacting and I'm being insecure, and that I don't trust him. Now that's not it at all. I trust him, but I don't see why she needs to be involved in our day. Now I'm rethinking everything. If he can't respect how uncomfortable this makes me, what's next? Am I crazy for considering calling off the wedding because of all this? Am I the a-hole for feeling this is a huge red flag? Wait. What if not only did he invite his ex, but made her the best man? Am I the a-hole for being heard that wife staying the night with ex-boyfriend? Wife, 40 female, of 2 years together with me, 49 male for 6 years. We are both doctors and she's traveling to another state next week for a conference. The conference is in a big fun city, so she's staying over for a few days extra after the conference. I knew she would see and hang out for a few days with an ex while she was on this trip. He's a physician there. This seems totally normal to me. This is an ex from when she was in medical school 12 years ago. It ends up that the ex lives in a suburb of the big city, and she's going to travel there to spend one night at his house. I found this out at a work party when someone asked her about her travel plans. I feel like this violates basic expectations of marriage, and it indicates that she places little value on the relationship. On top of that, I feel little more than a little humiliated at how I found out, and the faces the two colleagues made at me when she started explaining this. Am I the a-hole? I would like to know, what city is this fun? I mean, what city is fun? Is it? I mean, there's all sorts of red flags here. Why does she have to stay at her ex house? No, I don't think she was trying to save money. I'd love to see what kind of faces the colleagues made when she started explaining this. Am I the a-hole for refusing to get my daughter with severe social anxiety a service dog and forcing her to get a part-time job after what she did? Throwaway account, don't want the whole family up in my business for this just yet. Alright, the title is long-winded, I know, but hear me out. My 45 female daughter, 15 female, suffers from severe social anxiety. It's incredibly crippling and has prevented her from many extracurriculars and even her education over the years. I left my job 5 years ago to start homeschooling her and since put her in therapy. The therapist and I have been working on getting her into school more and more for the past year and a half. That is all to say, I am not trying to shame my daughter for her social anxiety at all. It is a debilitating thing to live with, and I can see that firsthand. Last month, my therapist recommended getting a service dog for my daughter in order to help her navigate public settings better. Despite thinking this was a huge responsibility, I did see excitement on my daughter's face. She really wanted a dog and seemed determined to continue her progress with the help of an animal. I was initially on board with this and started the necessary research required. However, a few weeks weeks ago, I left my daughter with my sister-in-law a few days because my mother was sick, and I needed to visit her a few hours away, and my husband was on a work trip. The plan was for my significant in-law to continue her homeschooling for as many hours as she could manage, but instead I got a call from her 2 days in, demanding that I take my daughter back home. I came to find out that my sister-in-law had to leave the house for a few hours and asked my daughter to take care of her senior dog. The dog is very small. She was adopted just over a year ago, and she is still a bit wary of people. My daughter, in an attempt to recreate some stupid online video, and left her there. The poor thing was so scared she shit herself on the roof, shaking while my daughter filmed. Of course, this didn't go to plan, and the dog ended up falling off the roof and into the swimming pool out of sheer luck. However, due to her age and size of the dog, ended up breaking a few ribs and a paw. When I heard this, I was absolutely livid. I confronted my daughter immediately, and she admitted she wanted to create a video she saw online. Then she proceeded to use the defense that went along the lines of, "That dog is old, and if it was younger, nothing would have happened." She also mentioned how she didn't really think what she did was that bad because it was unloved shelter dog with no real value like a service dog or a newborn puppy. I was upset to hear these words coming out of my daughter's mouth. I have no idea where she learned this from, considering neither me or my husband share these beliefs. I instantly told my daughter that she would not be getting a service dog. I also told her that she would have to pay her aunt's vet's bill no matter what it took. Because the bill is in the thousands, she will have to find a way to make that money. My daughter got upset and said I was being unfair because she can't get a job due to her social anxiety. But I told her she should have thought of that before doing what she did. My daughter has since been tempting to search for a part-time job that requires minimal face-to-face interaction. Despite me and my husband helping her, she was only able to find a waitress job. I asked my sister-in-law if she was okay with my daughter working off the vet bill off instead, but she refused, saying she really had no interest in having my daughter anywhere near the house or the dog again. And I honestly thought that was fair enough, so I told my daughter she had to find a way to stick with this because that vet bill was her responsibility only. My husband told me I might be an a-hole for suggesting our daughter to pay off the entire bill, and that we should just probably restrict her pocket money until the bill is paid off. I think that's not a good enough punishment because her pocket money isn't earned. It's what me and my husband give her for her free time at the start of the week. Also, this bill is entirely her fault and therefore her responsibility. It's unfortunate that the only jobs are available in customer service, but what else can we do? My daughter's therapist also reached out saying she thinks it was wrong of me to completely take the service dog idea off the table, considering it is a medical necessity, as well as pointing out that suddenly forcing my daughter into an unfamiliar job may be a bit too daunting. Wow, what do you guys think of this one? Thank you for making it to the end of this video. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. Go check out some of my other videos if you like this one. And until next time, stay